All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. One of the things that, if you're a regular listener to the show, you may have heard a couple of years ago, I did an episode with a band from Portage of the Prairie called the Naked Midgets, and we did kind of an overview of their history as a band and their ridiculous antics and so on. And it turns out that they're not the only band from that area that has a vaguely offensive name and similar kind of subject matter. So I think that the best way to start this off is if you guys want to introduce yourselves, who you are, what instrument you play, and then give a bit of background to the band so people can put a name to the voice and just get an idea of where you're coming from.
Cool. You want to start from this side or this side?
Whichever works for you guys.
Sure. I'm Daniel, and I play drums.
Corey, I play bass.
I'm Chris. I play guitar and sing.
Cool. And there's another member that's not here, right?
Yeah, my cousin Avery, he plays guitar and sings as well. We all sing, but me and him are the main two vocalists.
Right. Okay, cool. And so what is the backstory of this band? Because I mean, like I said, I bring up the Naked Midgets because that's sort of how I was introduced to your band in the first place, and also because of the name. I mean, you guys are called Pulling Pud, the Naked Midgets. There's a similar type of potty humor, juvenile humor in there, nudity, masturbation, all that stuff. So, what's the origin of this band here? How long have you guys been doing this?
Well, was it end of last year we started up?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So my cousin, I taught him how to play guitar like 15 some years ago, and then we started. We bonded over Blink 182 and Green Day and all that stuff, and we kind of had bands on and off here and there throughout the years. And then when Tom DeLonge rejoined Blink 182 and they came out with that new single last year, Edging.
Yeah.
He messaged me like 5 minutes later. He's like, dude, we should do a punk rock project. I'm like, okay, I'm game. Let's do it. And then we needed to find a drummer because I was going to play bass. He was going to play guitar. I was like, I got a drummer. My former drummer from Dead Ringer. He'll do it. And, Daniel was probably part of the band for 2 weeks before he knew.
Yeah. Cool.
And so yeah, we're just kind of riffing off that old Blink sound, like not Enema of the State, like Cheshire Cat and Buddha and all that.
Well, and what I was going to say too is upon listening to your EP, I mean, it very much has that kind of 90s skate punk, pop punk, whatever you want to call it, sound. I mean, it reminded me of NoFX at times. It reminded me of that whole 90s fat epitaph, mostly fat though, kind of vibe. So what do you think it is? I mean, we're 30 years now since some of those kind of seminal records came out of that genre. What do you think it is that still makes that stuff work all this time after its kind of heyday? Like, why is it still good? I mean, I agree with you, it is still good, and I get why you're doing it. But what is it about that style of punk rock that works for you guys?
I don't know. You just write good songs, good melodies, and if
like NoFX, you mentioning them. Chris hadn't even really listened to them prior to what was it this year?
You just started listening to them this year.
So, and I've been listening to NoFX since I was 15. So
yeah.
I think a lot of the songs having that sound is probably just because it was very new to him and just directly influenced him immediately, gave him all these ideas and stuff like that. And I mean, anybody who's a part of the punk scene knows who NoFX is. So yeah, I think, they're just the kings of punk rock, basically.
Well, a lot of that stuff too, is kind of written in the DNA of people who play punk rock these days because they grew, like you said, you were 15 listening to it. Me too. I was listening to it when I was 14, 15 as well. And it's kind of permanently embedded there for a lot of people. But that's kind of cool that you heard it for the first time recently. Like, what was that like, I guess, hearing NoFX without the context of sort of their original, that original era of when that was sort of the thing?
Like I might have heard a song here and there or whatever. I never really paid it too much attention or whatever, and then I started listening. Was it you that got me into it, or did I just happen upon it myself?
I think it was probably a little bit of both. I think I showed you a couple songs here and there, and then just suddenly you're like, "Oh, dude, NoFX!"
Yeah. I got ADHD, so I will hyper focus on something, and it was like doing a fat fucking rail when I started getting into them. It was like, woo!
Yeah.
Is that kind of the not the fat fucking rail part, but I mean, is that kind of the idea of what you're trying to put across? Like just that kind of vibe that those bands have. I mean, you mentioned Blink 182 as well. There's that sort of when you listen to put on a record, it just sort of launches you right into it. Like it's fast, it's loud, it's hooky. and you sort of just there's no sort of build up, right? It's just right there in your face, kind of. Is that sort of the feeling you're going for with this?
Yeah, like I just want to like right to the point, good music, short and sweet. Capture people's attention.
Just something fun.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and fun.
Yeah.
Fun and good. That's what we're going for.
Those are both good goals to have for sure. Yeah. So what is? I mean, doing the show, I've been doing this for more than a decade now, and I mean, I'm mostly talking to Winnipeg bands. I try to get out of the city when I can and talk to people from all these little music scenes that are happening in all the various communities outside the perimeter. But I haven't been to Portage in a decade at least, and so I mean, what is the music scene like there right now for you guys? Are there a lot of opportunities for a band like you to play there, or is it mostly you have to come to Winnipeg, or have you figured that out yet?
Oh, it's that one's actually kind of a mixed bag, because like we do have a couple people here that put on shows, but for the most part, it's just like, if we're not going into the city or something like that, then we're just kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Because there's just like there is a scene here, but I mean, even like you said, like you've been here like 10 years, like whatever, like everything that we used to have back then has basically just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help that we don't have very many places to like play anymore. The West End is been shut down for years now.
Yeah.
So like we have like the Legion the odd time and the Masonic Hall, but I don't know, it's kind of difficult to like just find something, at least that's even for punk rock, because it's not usually a lot of punk rock. There seems to be a lot of metal and like just heavier music around here, it seems.
Do you feel that you are like, do you fit in with that scene at all, or are you very obviously different because of that? I think you froze here. Let's wait and see what happens.
Actually, that's
Oh, I think we lost him. All right, so obviously I'm gonna have to edit this a bit. Here we go. All right, we lost you for a second. You're back. You're back.
Yeah, I think the internet cut out there.
Cool. Okay. So you want to? Yeah. What I was asking was whether you fit into the scene with the heavier bands, or if you are very obviously kind of standing out as something different. Like
Well, okay. So for me and this guy, Daniel, when I first started playing music, I started off in like the old school, like Ramones punk style or whatever, right? And then started becoming more into like the Christian straight edge hardcore stuff, and then went into metal. And that's me and him have been playing like in metal bands for years.
Okay.
So and then had crossed my mind from time to time playing punk, but there's, like I said, there's not really much for punk bands here or whatever else. And then I mean, like me, I was supposed to be a stand-in bassist or whatever for Pulling Pud, and if it wasn't for this guy, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. So like I love punk. It's been a big part of like everything that I'm influenced by for probably about the last 20 to 25 years. But I was never really big into the scene. I know Jeff from the Naked Midgets and Bryce and all those guys. But
was Bryce supposed to play for Dick Lips?
Who
was that? The drummer you tried to get to play for Dick Lips?
Oh, maybe, I don't know. So, but I don't really fit into the punk scene really, but I don't know. I guess here I am.
You're here now. Yeah,
so
yeah. Well, then how does that work with the city then, with Winnipeg? Because I mean, like, there's obviously a lot of punk bands in Winnipeg, and there's a lot more venues, way more venues, and more shows happening regularly. But you have the, I guess, disadvantage of being not in the city, just to be sort of actively part of what's going on. Has that been difficult for you, or have you found it fairly easy to get the word out? I mean, I know. Again, you just released the CP. Like, this is all very new. But what has your experience been like, sort of trying to get into the Winnipeg punk scene?
Well, we're still working on it. We haven't played a show yet, but we wanted to get everything set up, get the EP out, get some merch ready, and then start booking shows. We like from the time we were in Dead Ringer, and then Chuck's. He knows people in the scene too, so he's been managing us basically and trying to get us on shows and stuff.
Cool.
which we're
And
very thankful for him for contacting you and setting this all up. So yeah, so like he's kind of our saving grace, I guess. Like he's pretty much going to be helping us out with that, because I don't think any of us know who to contact when it comes to any punk shows or anything in the city, or I don't know, I guess probably not even imported. Right? Yeah.
Well, I guess you're either stuck putting on your own shows or figuring out who to talk to, right? Or getting someone to like you said, someone to help you make connections and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We'll get it figured out.
Yeah. I mean, there's always room for more punk bands, right? There's always an audience. There's always an audience for punk rock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah.
I like to believe we get a lot of traction though, because me and my cousin, we had Dick Lips, which was a Blink 182 cover band.
Okay.
And we played 2 shows because Badlands Promotions needed somebody to fill in on a pop punk bill for Calling All Captains. They were touring across Canada. And I was like, yeah, I'll just throw together a band. Me and my cousin will find a drummer. We went through like 3 drummers, never practiced with any of them. And Tim Wilson, I think his name is, the drummer for Calling All Captains. He played drums.
Oh, cool.
For the Calling All Captains show, and the people loved it when we were up there playing Blink. Like the energy was phenomenal. And then we also played on Ellis somewhere.
Did you guys play the Cavern or something like that?
No, that was Drink.
Blink.
That was Drink 182.
Oh,
that was
yeah,
a
right.
Winnipeg band.
Yeah.
The vocalist couldn't make it, so they contacted Dick Lips and was like, "Hey, can your vocalist make it?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Hell yeah, I can make it!"
Yeah.
And that show was intense. It was like there was a Sum 41 cover band, Killswitch Engage, and then the Blink cover band, and it was fucking lit.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you kind of the timing is right for that kind of thing too right now, because not only are the people who grew up listening to Blink 182 now, I mean, there's kind of a nostalgia thing happening because the band is back together with that lineup, and then you also have the younger kids who are just starting to get into it now. So that sort of style of pop punk is sort of really big right now. So that's fortuitous timing, I guess, to start a band.
No kidding.
One thing I wanted to ask about the record is listening to the EP. I mean, you said at the beginning that you all sing, and that's something that I noticed that kind of stands out about the songs, is that there's often more than one vocalist taking over the lead vocals within the same song, which is kind of cool. I mean, that's something I think that is not exclusive to punk rock, but there's a lot of punk bands that do that. I mean, not in the same sort of style, but Rancid is a good example where you have 2 very obvious lead vocalists, and then the bassist sings sometimes as well. Was that something you deliberately wanted to do? Is have a bunch of different voices on there, or is that just how it worked out?
That's like so me and my cousin are the 2 main songwriters. So we write the songs and then we'll sing them, practice them, and then maybe figure, okay, well, my voice isn't right for this, so this this person will sing this part or whatever. I'm like, hey, what if I sung this kind of thing? And if it sounds good, we're gonna do it.
Are there certain sort of obviously songs that one or the other wrote? Like, can you tell listening to who's singing it that this is obviously your song or his song, or is it all kind of more of a group effort when it comes to putting everything together?
Well, Daniel said to me the other day that like my song's a little more like raw and kind of raw and rough.
Yeah, no, agreed.
And then Avery's
Agreed.
songs they're more cut and polished.
Yeah.
Because like he wrote on the EP he wrote Reasons. That's his only song on the EP, I think. Because Elizabeth Street, 40 John, and Maid are all my songs, and then Reasons is one of his. And to me, that sounds like mid 2000s kind of Blink sound, right? And it's just refined, I suppose. Then mine's like just dirty and raw.
Sure. Well, that seems like a good explanation of it. What's with the toilet humor? I mean, there's nothing wrong with the toilet humor, but why that? I mean, is that just kind of an influence from listening to bands like Blink or listening to bands like NoFX that kind of tend to have heavy that kind of content, or is that just something? I mean, you mentioned bands like Dick Lips that you were in before. I mean, this similar kind of vibe there, right, with the naming. What's the reason behind all that?
I think that's just who we are. Like
it's like when we played in Dead Ringer, all 3 of us were in Dead Ringer, and we went on tour across Western Canada there. It was all like gay jokes and just dick jokes.
Not homophobic jokes.
Yeah,
gay
not
jokes.
like just like it was like inappropriate, like grabbing like Daniel's ass or something like that, you know, like yeah. So yeah, be very clear on that.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
no,
I'm glad.
no,
I'm glad you. I'm
yeah,
glad you clarified that. Yeah,
yeah,
We
yeah,
love
yeah,
the gays.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just that's kind of how we've always been like hanging around each other. It's always just like, you know, dick jokes and just potty humor and stuff like that. So we just kind of rolled with it.
Yeah.
And I guess there's never an end to subject matter.
Yeah.
About body humor, right?
Yeah.
What has the what's the reaction been so far to this? I mean, again, I know it's like a brand new EP, but I'm sure you've had people who have heard it that whether it was before it came out or since it's been released. Have you had any response from people you know or just people in the community?
People that I know seem to be liking it. My girlfriend really likes it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Got
Yeah,
that all that support, eh?
Yeah.
The response has been a general positive one to every person that I've shown.
Yeah, I have friends out in the UK and stuff like that that I've just shown them like little clips of it, and then he'll be like, "Hey, do you mind if I show one of my friends or whatever?" And like and it's funny enough, he's into like black metal and stuff like that, and he loves it. So
Cool.
I mean, I take that like, you know, I don't know.
That's
That's
pretty big
definitely a good
compliment.
sign, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I guess what is the next steps now? I mean, this is out. It's been released. People can hear it. People are hearing it. What are you hoping to do next with this? Now that you have music out in the world, and you're more than just a social media account or just a goofy name or whatever you whatever you want to call it, right? Like you actually exist in music form online. So what's sort of the next move?
Well, we're gonna try and play shows, promote the EP. We got 3 more songs recorded for our next EP, and a good 10 or 15 on backlog. So the plan is to release a bunch of EPs online, and then once we get a good 50 minutes of music, so like 60 songs,
Yeah.
we'll release a full length.
Okay.
All the songs
That
together.
one, like probably one that's not like DIY or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is EPs just like, is that just so you can have a lot of kind of constant releases happening so you can stay in people's minds, or what's the reason for EPs?
Well, it's kind of inspired by like punk rocks. No Effects. Was it 44 or 45 songs that didn't make the cut or whatever?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Because that's just like a whole like compilation of shit put on one CD, and I love that idea.
Yeah, and well, like if you think about it, you stay in people's minds, like you said, and at that point, it keeps people playing your music more and more, and more plays is good by me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
do
we
you-
could be a lot. We could be a lot more selective about what music we release to, instead of recording a 14 song album and then maybe 7 of the songs are shit because we tried to push them and get them out. Like we want to have nothing but bangers kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think that I mean, again, because this is a new band, this is sort of why I'm asking this, but do you think that your sound is going to, I mean, just say within the next year you release a bunch of EPs, do you foresee the sound evolving much sort of from record to record, or have you sort of nailed down what the sound of the band is at this point?
I think it's gonna change even from song to song, because we all have influences from different aspects of music. Like Corey and Daniel here, Corey's into like black metal and this metalcore stuff, and Daniel's into metalcore, whatever.
I'm into anything and everything all over the board kind of thing.
And then Avery, he's into country.
Okay.
Yeah, he listens to Taylor Swift. So
Yeah, we'll be going to jam, and we're rocking T-Swizzle on the radio.
yeah.
Do you think that stuff is going to, maybe not Taylor Swift specifically, but all of these other influences, like black metal, for example? I mean, that's not something you would hear this EP and think, oh, someone in this band must listen to black metal. But do you think any of those influences are maybe going to come through in a more obvious way, or maybe a more obvious way to you while you're sort of evolving the sound?
Like Chris was saying earlier, that both him and Avery write the majority of the songs, at least so far.
Yeah.
Daniel and I have been kind of taking our hand in like writing some songs for like future releases and stuff like that. And I think maybe even the guitar style and stuff like that is going to have like our influences in the metal scene or metalcore black metal stuff like that is
Yeah.
probably going to somehow make its way into the sound. I don't think it's going to necessarily change the music too much. It'll still have that pop punk feel, but I think maybe some of the techniques will kind of make it their way into that.
Yeah. Well, that's often a thing too that only the band notices, right? I mean, that's something that you could have maybe a chord progression or something that is obvious to you guys where this comes from, but yeah, to the listener, it might be just sound like the regular sound of what the band's doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, if people are hearing about you for the first time on this show, and they probably are, because again, this just came out, this EP. What's the best way to find you online? Find your music, hear your music. Where would you send someone who is hearing about you for the first time?
Well,
Pretty much we're on like almost every streaming service right now. Like we're on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. I mean, we have some of our stuff right now is like, I guess that's just that is like the lyric video is on YouTube.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah.
I made a lyric video for Elizabeth Street to kind of like tease the EP and hopefully generate some, buzz.
We're also on TikTok too.
Yeah, we got a TikTok.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, we're pretty much on all social media platforms,
Just,
and
like, Google Pulling Pud, and you might find us.
yeah,
You might find something you don't want to find as well. Like,
yeah,
have
might
you
be
tried?
that too? Yeah.
Have you checked that? Like, or is that like a potential pitfall going up? Someone could try to find you and end up in the complete wrong section of the internet,
I haven't
or the right
checked, but
section, depending.
I might have to do that now. Yeah.
Yeah. Just it depends on who you are and what you're looking for.
That's right. Yeah. Do you have? I know you said a few times that you're sort of working towards booking shows and things like that. But is there anything planned in the relatively near future that you have as far as shows, whether it's in Portage or Winnipeg or anywhere else?
Not yet, but there's some things in the works. So once we get that all figured out, we'll for sure be talking about it everywhere we can.
Yeah.
Now that we got it out, like the EP, and everyone can hear the music, it's time to hit the streets and get people to hear us in person.
Yeah. Is that difficult to do from Portage? Because again, like just having that small scene. I mean, the benefit, I guess, of the internet is you can reach anybody anywhere and they can hear your stuff. But is it a bit of a different approach? Potentially reaching Winnipeg audiences when you're not necessarily right in the city, or is that to be determined?
Well, like there's Facebook groups that you can join to try and shoot your shot with people that are looking for bands on shows and stuff like that. You can contact the promoters that in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And it's just shooting your shot like that and hoping that someone needs a spot, or like Chuck is promoting us pretty good, so
Yeah.
he'll be contacting people and helping us get shows, or that's the hope.
Yeah. Like I said, that's where I think he's our saving grace, because he knows a lot of people, so he can kind of contact whoever we need for whatever and kind of just set us up. So
Yeah. Well, he has to do it now. Now you're on record as talking about it, right? So
yeah, exactly.
He doesn't have an option. Yeah.
I hope he gets to see this.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you have any plans for like an EP release show or anything, or is this one just sort of getting put out there online, and then maybe that's something in future for upcoming releases?
We just wanted to get like I said, get some music out so people can hear it, generate some buzz, and then we want to get some merch and start playing shows. And like it was rushed. I think when we put it up on like DistroKid, so like usually you put about 4 weeks before you release something, and it was like a week before it came out that we put it on DistroKid. So
yeah,
it was just kind of rushed and put out there. But for the next one, definitely we're gonna have some time to sit on it and think and
make sure we have everything exactly the way we want it.
Yeah, do some proper planning and stuff.
Do you expect the next one to be within this calendar year, or is it?
Oh yeah.
I probably figure in a few months. Probably that might not, or that might seem rushed, but like I think like we said, we already got like 3 in the works or whatever for recording, and so like once that's done, like I mean, we'll take a little bit more time to plan the actual release as opposed to just like really pushing it out immediately. But it's probably within 2 to 3 months. I think we'll probably have that out.
Oh yeah.
So
just got a little bit of tracking and done on the mixing and stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. So stay tuned.
Planning.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on.